Peace and power to everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. I was trying to do a video tonight with Miss J, and she wasn't feeling well, so I'm gonna go ahead and just keep looking because this stuff is coming to me left and right. So I found some more proof, and I want to go back. Welcome back, YouTube family. Welcome to my new subscribers. I'm just in shock. That's why it's taking me so long, but Brother Lex Will did a video, and he is reading the Black Code. And this is the order that was placed on you when they came into this land and conquered us. Let's watch or listen.
Remember, they had gone into the Micmac people, and then they were forced out eventually by I believe the British or something. I'm not too good on that history. I don't think that happened at the time yet. This is obviously earlier on at 1685. I remember 1492 Columbus reaches here. Spain and Portugal were already conquesting other regions of South America. So 1685, recorded at the Sovereign Council of Saint Dominique. Right. Louis, by the grace of God, King of France and Navarre, to all those here present, and to those to come, greetings, in that we must also care for all people that divine providence has put under our tutelage. We have agreed to have the reports of the officers we have sent to our American islands studied on our presence. These reports inform us of their need for our authority and for our justice in order to settle these issues, and inform them that even though they reside infinitely far from our normal abode, we are always present for them, not only through the reach of our power, but also by the promptness of our help towards their needs. For these reasons, and on the advice of our council, and of our certain knowledge, absolute power, and royal authority, we have declared, ruled, and ordered, and declare, rule, and order that the following pleases us. Article 1. We desire and we expect that the edict of the 23rd of April, 1615, so this is much sooner, so this is 1685. Now, it's 1615 of the late king, our most honored lord and father, who remains glorious in our memory, be executed in our islands. So, they expressed early in this 1615 that their king, that's a trip, who remains glorious in our memory, be executed in our lands. This accomplished, we enjoin all officers to chase from our islands all the Jews who have established residence there, as they all declare enemies of Christianity, as with all declared enemies of Christianity, we command them to be gone within 3 months of the day of issue of present order, at the risk of compensation of their persons and their goods. Article 2. All slaves that shall be in all islands shall be baptized and instructed in Roman, Catholic, and Apostolic faith. We enjoin the inhabitants who shall purchase newly arrived Negroes to inform the governor and intendant of said islands of this fact within no more than 8 days, or risk being fined an arbitrary amount. They shall give the necessary orders to have them instructed and baptized within a suitable amount of time. Article 3. We forbid any religion other than Roman, Catholic, and Apostolic from being practiced in public. We desire that offenders be punished as rebels, disobedient of our orders. We forbid any gathering to that end, which we declare to be conventional, illegal, seditious, and subject to the same punishment as would be applicable to the masters who permit it or accept it from their slaves. Article 4. No persons assigned to positions of authority over Negroes shall be other than a member of Roman, Catholic, Apostolic faith, and the master who assigned these persons shall risk having said Negroes compensated. Do you understand what that means? Anybody assigned positions, anybody employed by the master has to be what? A member of the Roman faith, the Catholic faith, or the Apostolic faith. It has nothing to do with the Old Testament. It never has, except for the knowledge about who the people are and where they disappeared to. Remember, it's about the lost 10 tribes. They claim they already know where Jacob is, and they already took him in, and they don't destroy him over there because they know if they do, the Creator will raise up rocks. That means they'll shake their soil so hard they'll destroy everything through earthquakes. You see all the earthquakes happening here all the time. So basically, think about this. What it's saying is, if you hire someone to work over the slaves as management, they have to believe in Christ. That's apostolic as Paul. Right? Paul's teaching, magnified. We'd have nothing if it wasn't for Paul telling us where to look. Paul writing to each of the Corinthians, Ephesians, to the Thessalonians. Paul, who somehow enters the family of Flavius. Flavius Titus, his father, Flavian Josephus, emperor. So here it says, whoever works for them has to have some kind of belief in Christ. All right, Roman Article 5. We forbid our subjects who belong to the so-called Reformed religion from causing any trouble or unforeseen difficulties for all other subjects or even for their own slaves in the free exercise of Roman Catholic and Apostolic faith at the risk of I'm stuttering so bad. I can't pronounce the word. I'm going to faint. Exemplary punishment. Article 6. We enjoin all our subjects of whatever religion and social status they may be to observe Sundays and holidays that are observed by our subjects of Roman Catholic and Apostolic faith. We forbid them to work, nor their slaves work on said days from midnight until the following midnight.
Okay, sorry. My washing machine was going ham. I was looking up subject. Something is not quite. Okay. And see, we have to look up the word. So subject as a verb, which is how they're using it in this video, means to make a person or nation subject to another by force. Also to render submissive or dependent, from medieval Latin subjectare, placed beneath, frequentive of Latin subicere, to make subject subordinate, meaning to lay open or expose some force or occurrence, is recorded from early 15th century. Implies subjected as a noun, early 14th century, person under control or dominion of another. Specifically a government or ruler, from Old French subject, a subject or person or thing. Y'all, this is who we still pay today. These royal families, we still pay them. They came over here and conquered your land and make you forever pay them. That's crazy.
Nor perform any other work at the risk of a fine and an arbitrary punishment against the masters, and of confiscation of our officers, as much sugar worked by said slaves before being caught. Pardon me. Alright, Article 7. We forbid them also to hold slave markets or any other market on said days at the risk of similar punishments and compensation of merchandise that shall be discovered at the market, and an arbitrary fine against the settlers. Article 8. We declare that our subjects who are not of Roman Catholic and Apostolic faith be incapable of controlling any valid marriage in the future. We declare any child born from such unions to be bastards, and we desire that said marriages be held and reputed and hold and repute as actual concubinage. Okay. so they say the marriage is fraud and it's just a concubine, just your living girlfriend. So if you aren't Christian, you can't marry. And any child you have is a bastard. All right, here we go with 9. Free men who shall have one or more children during concubinage with their slaves, together with their masters who accept it, shall each be fined 2,000 pounds of sugar. If they are the masters of the slaves who produce said children, we desire, in addition to the fine, that the slave and the children be removed, and she and they be sent to work at the hospital. Again, never to gain their freedom. We do not expect much from the present article to be applied when the man was not married to another person during the concubinage with the slave, who he should then marry according to the accepted rites of the church. In this way she shall then be freed. The children become free and legitimate. And that's just so much garbage right there. Alright. Again, 10 is skipped, so we go right to 11. We forbid priests from conducting weddings between slaves if it appears that they do not have their master's permission. We also forbid slaves from using any constraints on their we forbid masters from using any constraints on their slaves to marry them without their wishes. 12. Children born from marriages between slaves shall be slaves, but if the husband and wife have different masters, they shall belong to the master of the female slave, not to the master of her husband. We all understand that because the baby will need to feed, and you can't take the baby away from mom while it's feeding and things like that. Again, and most of this stuff is, again, when the child is born. This doesn't really have anything to do once the child is of age. We desire, in Article 13, we desire that if a male slave has married a free woman, their children, either male or female, shall be free as the mother, regardless of the father's condition of slavery. And if the father is free and the mother is a slave, the children shall also be slaves. So again, in these situations, we're dealing with what? Their children. Alright, so that goes further than dealing with birth. So now we get to 15, so it skips 14 as well. Alright, we did 13 last, and now we go to 15. So 14 is not there. What? It was 10 also, and that wasn't there. We forbid slaves from carrying any offensive weapons or large sticks at the risk of being whipped and having these weapons confiscated. The weapons shall then belong to he who confiscated them. The sole exception shall be for those who have been sent by their masters to hunt and who are carrying either a letter from their master or his known mark. Alright, here we have 16. We also forbid slaves who belong to different masters from gathering, either during the day or at night, under the pretext of a wedding or other excuse, neither at one of the master's houses or elsewhere. and especially not in major roads or isolated locations. They shall risk corporal punishment, and shall not be less, punishment shall not be less than the whip and the fure de Louis. Now, when I tell you this is the fucking, slave symbol that they brand you with, you know, and it's modernly used constantly, and you put this on your ass for free. Now, why do you think fences use this image to keep niggas away? Why do you think football teams use this image to show that they own your ass? This is what you were branded with. Now, look again. He said, if you start meeting, you risk death, corporal punishment. You know, corporal punishment or death. Physical punishment such as caning or flogging. Punishment under law that includes imprisonment and death. Alright? So if you meet up with another nigga from a different master and they think you two are conspiring, don't you get it? They always want you separate, and they always gang up on you. You move into a white man's neighborhood, and the white people go and knock on everybody's door. There's a meeting tonight. You better show up. But I got my daughters recital. You show up or else. And everybody shows up. Because they know if anybody says we're not showing up, they'll fuck them up. And they have this meeting. There's a nigger in our neighborhood. He moved in, and then somebody shouts out, oh, he lives at 9671 blah, 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 Maple Springs. Right? They already fucking know. You don't think this happens in these fucking neighborhoods? Their greatest advantage over you is keeping you separate. When you group together, the fucking cops are all over you. They ain't there. What are you doing? So in the past, they would threaten you with beatings or even death. You're gonna get the whip. You're gonna get the beating. But if they find out you were conspiring, then one of you are gonna die. And they always leave one alive, because that person can go and always tell the story of fear, spread the fear to the next person. Now imagine you and somebody else were just hanging out talking and said you had different masters and they saw you, and they just started making shit up, just like they do today. And then they want to get their jollies off fucking you up. Do they tie you to something and they beat you? Until whichever one of you dies first. And the fleur de lis, the branding iron. See, they're so mature about it. They'll say, well, we'll brand an animal, but for you, we'll give you the fleur de lis. In fact, I've never seen a fucking cow branded with this fucking symbol. Yet you always see black people branded with this symbol. Now, it's easy for me to just type in what? On football teams, on football fans. Let's take the risk. Oh, hate these sensitive laptops. Weird shit happens when you just lay your hands on it. Want black people. Let's just type in want black people. Oh, they just give me the color black. Oh, there you go. There's this guy is a slave, and literally because of our status. And what did he do? He went ahead and tattooed the slave brand into his arm. You know, so even though they only gave me one, I expect to see jerseys. But that's even better. So, no less than the whip, right? They caught you on major roads in isolated locations, whether it be day or night, even under the pretext of a wedding or other.
It's the willpower that's broke today, y'all. Got to build it back up. It's love that's missing, and it starts right here. How do you feel about that? Sisters, you have just witnessed God in you. That's how the Creator in you feels. That's how the Most High wants us to feel and wants us to be. Free enough to be who we are. So when I bring an unk up here for 360 degrees of life, or a Bible for the Word, or a Holy Quran for the truth, or a candle for light, or some water for purification, or a Buddhist symbol for meditation, or Jah Rastafari, or whatever it is, I'm only trying to encourage you. Freedom. Freedom, y'all. It's the willpower that's broke today, y'all. We got to build it back up.
Excuse is forbidden for slaves to be belong to different masters and gather together. So you get the shit beat out of you, or you get branded, and for frequent recidivities. What the hell is that? I guess that means you keep doing the same thing. Let's look that word up. Recidivists. That's a convicted criminal who reoffends, especially repeatedly. Oh, doesn't reoffends mean repeatedly? I don't know. I guess if you do something 30 years later, that's just reoffending, and then if you do something every 3 years and it's the same damn thing, it's just repeatedly. Oh, that's a new word that I can barely pronounce. It's the divots. Recidivists. Tongue twisters. And in other aggravating circumstances, they may be punished with death. A decision we leave to their judge. We enjoin our subjects, even if they are not officers, to rush to offenders, arrest them, and take them to prison, and that there be no decree against them, and that there be no decree against them. Okay, so meaning that nobody presses charges against one of their subjects that rushes to offenders to arrest them. Well, the hero in all of you, right? Alright, so here we have 18. So 17 is skipped. We go from 16 to 18. We forbid slaves from selling sugar cane for whatever reason or occasion, even with the permission of their masters, at the risk of a whipping for the slaves, and a fine of 10 pounds for the master who gave them permission, and an equal fine for the buyer. Alright, so they wanted to keep money out of your hands at all means. Now, think about how they are with these artists. These artists look very glamorous on TV, but when they try to get real money out of their accounts, problems begin to arise. Here we have Article 19. We also forbid slaves from selling any type of commodities, even of fruits, vegetables, firewood, herbs for cooking, and animals either at the market or at individual houses, without a letter or a known mark from their masters granting express permission. Slaves shall risk the confiscation of goods sold in this way without their masters receiving restitution for the loss, and a fine of 6 pounds shall be levied against the buyers. Now, this is Article 19. Now they're going to skip a bunch. And there's going to Article 27. So that's a big jump. That's 8 places to go from 19 to 27. Slaves who are infirm due to age, sickness, or other reasons. So, you're not good as a slave anymore. Whether sickness is incurable or not shall be nourished and cared for by their masters. In the case that they be abandoned, the said slave shall be awarded to the hospital, to which their master shall be required to pay 6 souls per day for the care and feeding of each slave. Then it skips to Article 31. Article 31. Slaves shall not be a party. Slaves shall not be a party either in court or in a civil matter, either as a litigant or as a defendant, or as a civil party in a criminal matter, and compensation shall be pursued in criminal matters for results and excesses that have been committed against slaves. So, I don't know if that means, because again, they were trying to keep money out of your hands, so, compensation shall be, so if you're a slave, you have a master. I'm surprised that they don't state something like, the master receives the funds or something like that. Here we have Article 33, so 32 is skipped. The slave who has struck his master in the face, or has drawn blood, or has similarly struck the wife of his master, his mistress, or their children, shall be punished by death. Well, there you have that, right? Again, it's not you versus your master, it is you versus the criminal court at that point.
Y'all can go over to Lex Will's channel, subscribe, like, finish this video. I'm about to go to bed, I'm tired. Peace and power to you, and I'm out.